Dr. Kiva Gamliel-Bell, Dean of Jewish Studies at the B'nai Noach Torah Institute, LLC. Welcome to Pesach, the last 6 days of Rabbi Jesus' life on earth. This is our textbook. We're going to be in chapter 4 in this discussion. I encourage you to purchase a copy so that you'll be able to receive all of the information. We will not be able to do that on a short video. Our discussion is entitled Lunar Year, Solar Year. The lunar year is what we observe in Judaism, and non-Jews normally recognize the solar year, 365 days a year, or 366, and the solar is 354. So that creates an unusual situation for those that are Jewish and for those that are trying to understand and that have questions about Pesach, about Passover. It can be a little bit difficult to follow. So because the lunar year is 354 days, it's about 10 days short of the solar. If we were to not do anything, if we were just to let every Passover just arrive 354 days and then 354 days and 354 days, etc., it would take us 33 years to do the complete cycle. Okay? However, in Exodus chapter 13, the Lord told us that because He delivered us out of Mitzrayim and out of slavery in the month of spring, that is going to be the head of the month for us. That is going to be the beginning of the year for us. Now, when we go 354 days, and 354 days, and 354 days, all of a sudden, we're 30 days off from 3 years before. So we have a leap year. There are some months that we have 12 months, and then occasionally we have 13 months. Now, the purpose is to always make sure that we're celebrating Passover in the month of springtime. Now, one of the important areas in Judaism is the renewal of the moon. The sun isn't thought of as being renewed, but the moon is renewed every 29 or 30 days. And so we have a full moon, and then we go to a very small little sliver of a moon. And during this 30-day period, as we approach the new moon, that would be Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh. Rosh means head, and Chodesh is month. Head of the month, the beginning of the month, new month, renewal of the month. We are to look upon ourselves. We are to think back the past 29 or 30 days about our conduct. We're to consider our actions, and we're to make sure that as we're entering into the new month, the renewal of the new month, we bless the moon, we bless God who gave us the moon, and we also try to cleanse ourselves from our wrongs, from our failings. We try to improve. Now, normally, the best way to do that is to look at our activities every day at the conclusion of the day, and try not to retire without dealing with any issues that we've had. If we've been angry, we need to acknowledge our anger and make a plan not to repeat it, and to apologize to those that we may have been a little bit sharp with. If we've had an improper business deal, we need to try and correct it before the day concludes. That way, at the end of the day, everything is settled and you're ready and prepared to move on to the next day. You see, as we discussed in lesson chapter 2 about how God gave us the sun, the moon, the stars for for day and for night, for days and for years, for months, for seasons, okay? And so when we conclude the day, we want to make sure our life is prepared, that it's ready to meet the next day. And when we conclude the week with Shabbat, we want to enter Shabbat with holiness. Shabbat is a holy day. It's separated from the other 6 days of the week. So we want to be able to enter Shabbat in holiness. And so that means we have to make sure that we ourselves are pure and holy, and that we have corrected any errors that we've had during the past 6 days. Well, the same thing holds true for Passover, for Pesach. Pesach is set aside as a time where we eliminate the chametz in our life. The chametz is the yeast, it's the leaven. And the reason that we do that is so that we can have purity towards the Lord God, and purity in allowing our lives to have this break from chametz, this break from leaven, this break from those little irritating things that we do that we're trying to get a handle on. So, as we're headed towards Passover, and we're still almost 2 months away, it's a good time to start thinking about making a plan to clean each room. And what we try to do is to take the rooms that we can close off and seal them off so they're out of the way and they're taken care of. We don't have to come back to them. And we just kind of begin making our home smaller and smaller and smaller, God willing, until we're just down to a few rooms, and we only use those, because you have to have a place to sleep, you have to have a place to eat, okay? And so we get down to that situation. So it's a good time to think about cleaning. And I'm talking about cleaning because we're talking about cleaning of the soul, purifying of the soul, making sure that we're right with God every night before we go to bed, every beginning of the seventh day as we enter into Shabbat, and now we're heading to Passover. And so we want to make sure that we're prepared. Passover is a time where we separate the chametz and we get rid of it. And the dishes that we use all year long, which are kosher dishes, they're not kosher for Passover. The silverware and the pots and pans and utensils that we use all year long, that we kosher, that we put in the mikveh, that we set a brak over, they're not kosher for Passover. We use special utensils, special plates, cups, etc. Now, there is a way, if they're stainless steel, that you can kosher them and make them kosher for Passover. We're not going to go into that at this time. But the whole point is that as we're headed to Rosh Chodesh, as we're headed to Passover, okay, we're cleaning our house, and there you get the term spring cleaning. So we're cleaning our house, but we're also preparing to have a cleaning cycle in our bodies when we flush out all the chametz and where we get rid of the leaven in our lives and the sin in our life. And so Passover is taking us in this direction. So we follow the lunar year, God willing, and we follow the course of the lunar year, and in so doing, like I said, about every 3 years we have to have an extra month, a 13th month. So if you're born in a 13th month, what do you do? I want to thank you for joining with me.